This is how to crochet a Plarn stress ball. This ball is entirely made out of plastic yarn, and the inside is filled with the part of the plastic bag that I couldn't turn into yarn. To start, I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to add 6 single crochet into the first chain. I do want to add that this isn't quite as beginner friendly as my other videos. It's beginner friendly in the sense that I show you what to do step by step and you can follow along, and every row gets its own video. If you've already seen my videos, you know what it's all about. But the stitches aren't shown quite as meticulously, and I don't go over exactly where to insert your hook. So I would recommend that you have some experience working in the round. I have another video on how to make a ball with just regular yarn. I would practice that first before moving on to this one, and I'll tag the ball tutorial here. This is how to crochet a Plarn stress ball part 2. We're on row 2, and for this row we're going to increase every single stitch. Since we started with 6 stitches, we're going to end up with 12. I'm not going to worry about slip stitching into the first stitch because I want to create a seamless circle. And to mark the first stitch of my row, I'm going to use a stitch marker. I bought these stitch markers in bulk. I lose them like I lose my bobby pins, so bulk was the answer. Because for some reason, if I buy a set of, let's say 5 or 10, I will lose all 5 or 10 within a week. If I buy 15, 20, 40, 50, I don't lose them. For some reason, I reuse the same stitch marker over and over and over again, and even remember to put it back in the box. Maybe it's the box, I don't know. If you know, tell me how that works. Why did I spend so much money on stitch markers if I'm just going to reuse the same one? But anyway, if you like these kind of close-up stitch tutorials, be sure to like and follow. I post them almost every day. And if you have any questions about this or another project, or would like to request something, you can leave that in the comments of any of my videos and I'll add you to my list. I'm now filming entirely off requests, so here we go. This is how to crochet a Plarn stress ball part 3. We are on row 3, and for this row, we are going to add 2 single crochet into the first stitch and then 1 single crochet into the next stitch. And we're going to repeat that pattern all the way until the end. So it'll be 2 in one stitch, 1 in the next stitch, 2 in the next stitch, 1 in the next stitch, 2 in the next stitch, all the way until you have 18 total stitches. And you should have those 18 total stitches by the time you make it back to the stitch marker. I do have an Amazon favorites shop in my link tree if you ever want to check it out. I share all of the stuff that I've bought and used. I don't share anything that I haven't bought. And I'm stingy with my money, so it's not expensive stuff. I don't think so. If you're interested in making your own videos and you want to see the equipment that I use, I have that in there too. The only thing that I'm not using in these videos is the DSLR camera. I use my cell phone for these videos, not the DSLR, but I plan on using the DSLR for YouTube videos. So, if you're wondering why that's in there. But again, it's all stuff that I personally spent money on that I feel safe to say you can spend your money on and not regret it. But that's it. I'll see you in part 4. This is how to crochet a Plarn stress ball part 4. We are on row 4, and it is going to be our last row of increases. So I'm going to add 2 stitches into the first stitch, and then I'm going to add 1 stitch into each of the next 2 stitches. And I'm going to repeat that all the way around. If you were to read it in a pattern, it would read 2 single crochet, comma, single crochet in 2. That's the shortest version. Some designers like to add a little bit more words to it for clarification, but I like to keep it short and sweet because it's just me. But sometimes I keep it too short and too sweet, so it can confuse people. But at a bare minimum, that is the information you need in a pattern, and that's what they mean. 2 SC is 2 single crochet, and then SC in 2 means one single crochet over 2 stitches, or in the next 2 stitches. I'm really not trying to make this more confusing, and I apologize if I am. Patterns are just, they intimidate a lot of people, and I'm trying to prove that they're not that intimidating. You just have to read it out loud. So if it says this, just say it out loud, and hopefully my videos can help you understand what patterns sound like, or what directions sound like when they're written in a pattern. But I'm gonna stop rambling now. Part 5 is gonna be next, and for this we are going to stop increasing and just put 1 stitch in every single stitch around, and that is going to give us the tube shape. So I will see you in part 5, and be sure to like and follow. This is how to crochet a plain stress ball, part 6. The main thing about this one is that I wanted to show you how I will turn it right side out again. I could have included this in part 5, but I didn't because I snoozed. And now you can just watch the rest. It's in double time, so for the next 2 rows, rows 8 and 9, I am still putting 1 stitch into every single stitch all the way around. And then in row 10, that's when we'll start decreasing. So you can stick around and watch the rest of this video if you like to watch how crochet works its way up and to make sure that yours looks similar. But if not, I'll see you in part 7. Yay! Okay, so if you're adamant about hanging out, you might as well get a little story time out of it. This is not crochet related. This is just me rambling because I'm by myself in the house a lot with kids. And the conversations you have with little children are a lot different than conversations you have with like other adults. So here we go. Trigger warning, it's bugs. It was traumatizing for me. If bugs bother you, please don't listen. So when we moved down here, the house that we bought was vacant for 3 years. And in South Alabama, cockroaches live, in the South, like they just exist. And when nobody was in the house, they just kind of decided to move into the house. That's fine. I literally became an exterminator because of this. And there's a spray that you can spray on them that like kills them instantly. It like paralyzes them. Not good for anybody, probably. I can't imagine how many toxins are in that. But one time right before bed, I was exhausted. I had a newborn, and I went to go spray the roach that I saw in the bathroom. And I was already so hardened off to them that I just was like, oh, another roach. And I went to go get the spray, and I sprayed it. And I was just like, I'll just clean it up in the morning. I just want to go to bed. My husband was already in bed. I went to go turn off the light, and I laid down. And all of a sudden, I hear a sp. And that's when I learned that roaches can fly. And that thing was pissed. This is how to crochet a Plarn stress ball, part 7. We are on row 10 and we are starting the decreases. And I thought I could do something special and do 3 different kinds of decreases. So for the first one, we're going to insert the hook into the first stitch and pull up a loop, insert the hook into the second stitch, pull up another loop, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through 3 for the standard way to do a decrease. Then I'm going to add a single crochet into the next 2 stitches. And then I'm going to do the modified version of a decrease. I'm going to insert my hook into the front loop of the first stitch, pull up a loop, insert my hook into the front loop of the second stitch, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through 3. And now my decrease bump is going to be a little bit smaller. Then I'm going to add a single crochet into 2 stitches, and then I'm going to do the other modified decrease. So I'm going to pick up the front loop of the first stitch, and I'm going to pick up the front loop of the second stitch. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull through both front loops, yarn over and pull through 2, and now the bump is minimized. So the first decrease was a standard decrease, the second decrease was a invisible decrease, and then the third decrease, I'm going to call it the undetectable decrease, because it looks just like a single crochet. You wouldn't even know it wasn't. But to repeat the pattern, we are going to add a single crochet into 2, then a decrease, single crochet into, decrease, all the way until we get back to the stitch marker. You should end with just a regular single crochet in the last stitch. Well, technically 2, but you know what I mean. This is not, I said this at the beginning, this isn't a beginner tutorial on how to make a ball. If you want to work with Plarn and make something other than a mat, you probably have to be able to do this without plastic yarn and just regular yarn, and I have a whole video series on that, so I figured I could have a little bit more fun with this one. I try to keep most of my content as beginner friendly as possible, so I hope that you can forgive me for posting something, because I was curious. I honestly was curious just how it looked, and I know it's not easy to follow, so yeah, it's my fault. Totally. I accept full responsibility for it, but if you are a little bit more advanced and you're wondering what the difference is between those 3 decreases, I'm going to do the same sequence with the big decrease, the invisible, and then the unidentifiable or undetectable. I don't know what I called it. All the way to the end so you can see the difference. So I'll see you in part 8. This is how to crochet a Plarn stress ball part 8, and for this we're gonna stuff first. So I'm just taking a handful of the parts of the plastic bag that I couldn't turn into yarn, and I scrunched it up a little bit in my hand to make it fit more easily, but I'm not filling it up nearly all the way. It's literally just a handful to get that first little bit of stuffing in, and that'll save me some time later. So to start the row, I'm going to add a decrease, and I'm adding my standard decrease again, and then I'm going to single crochet into the next, and then add the invisible decrease where you pick up 1 loop, pull up a, where you work into the front loop of the first stitch, pull up a loop, work into the front loop of the second stitch, pull up another loop, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook, and then single crochet into the next. And then I'm going to use the undetectable, in my opinion, decrease, where you pick up the front loop of the first stitch, then pick up the front loop of the second stitch. And this is why I don't do voiceovers during the day. That's why my videos mostly go up at night. But, no, my daughter demanded my attention. We're good. The sequence for this video is a decrease and then a single crochet. And we're working backwards from the increase rows. So the last increase row was an increase and then a single crochet in 2. And then the row before that was an increase and a single crochet. So now we're doing a decrease and a single crochet. And logically speaking, the next row is going to be just decreases, which also means we're almost done. It's a very basic way to work something, but it was very much requested. It just took me forever to get there. So, yeah, I'm just having fun with it. And now I'm losing count. Uh-oh. Why did I leave this in? Oh, I know why I left it in. I wanted to show you how easy it is to pull out the stitches, or how not easy, because this whole thing has been a struggle for me. To be totally honest, it's not been a total struggle. It was a lot bigger of a struggle in the beginning. This is after practicing it a couple times, but it is possible and it's easy if you're familiar with that kind of technique. Using plastic yarn really doesn't make that much of a difference, but you can only pull out the stitches so much before the yarn, the plarn, starts to get too thin to work with. But that's it for part 8. If you like these kind of close-up stitch tutorials, be sure to like and follow. If you have a question about this project or another stitch, or you would like to request something, you can leave that in the comments of any of my videos. Sometimes it can take me a while to get to them, but I will try my best. If I don't respond right away, you have my full permission to post it multiple times. I don't think anybody would get on my nerves, unless you're a spam. Or a spam bot, is that what it's called? But I will see you in part 9, right? I don't know what number we're on. Bye! This is how to crochet a Plarn stress ball, part 9. We're almost done, so I'm just gonna stuff as much as I can at this point. The main goal now is to stuff until there's only the top row that doesn't have any, and that's mainly just to keep the yarn from feeding through the stitch when you're using your hook. So you don't want the hook to pull out the plarn that's on the inside or the plastic. You just but you do want it to be stuffed enough, because after this row the hole's going to get a lot smaller to stuff, and it would take forever to just do a little tiny bit at a time. But that's totally an option too, if you want to. But for this row, we're going to do a decrease into every single stitch, and I'm still using the method where the first decrease is just a standard decrease. The second method is what I call the invisible decrease, and then the third method is these are just my names for them, the undetectable decrease, because you can't tell it's a decrease. And it's going to create a nice little effect and texture, and it just proves to me that I'm going to use the undetectable one as much as I can, unless I want to add texture. I mean, that's how you somebody asked in my live yesterday how you design things, and it's just playing around with it and not following any one standard way. And when you see something you like, you just use it on something else, or if you're trying to go for a different effect. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. If you like these kind of close-up stitch tutorials, be sure to like and follow. I post them almost every single day on my page. Tonight they're kind of going up late because it's my son's birthday. And yeah. This is how to crochet a Plarn stress ball part 10. And we're done with the crochet part. Now we're just going to cut the plarn. I like to do it right at the beginning of the next knot and then pull the end through. And I'm going to give it a couple swishes to see how much more plarn I want to add to the inside. Technically this isn't plarn though. This is just a plastic bag. But I'm just going to keep stuffing, and this is at 2x speed. So just for the sake of time. But I'm just going to keep stuffing it into that little hole. And essentially what I'm going for is, so my left hand is holding it, in place, and as it starts to push up against my left hand, that's when I know to rotate it. And then at the end I'll give it another squish to make sure it has the firmness I'm looking for. Then I'm going to use a blunt bent tapestry needle. I always say tapestry because I like to. Someone corrected me one time, but I'm still going to say tapestry because it has the word tape in it. Why can't I say tapestry? I'm not offended by somebody correcting my language. This is just, I can't remember to say tapestry. I just can't. So I'm just going through the top loop from the inside of the circle out, and I'm pulling it tight as I go. If I was using regular yarn, I like to pull it tight at the end because it gives me an extra little bit of satisfaction. The plarn is not very pliable. It's not like yarn, so you don't have to weave it in all that much, but I am going to use the backside of a crochet hook to stuff it in a little bit more, just so there's a longer tail inside, and then I'm just going to cut it and stuff the last little pieces, and that's it. If you have any questions about this project or another project, or you would like to request something, you can leave that in the comments of any of my videos. And if you like these kind of close-up stitch tutorials, be sure to like and follow. Oh, and the different decreases before I forget. So you get the bumpy ones, and then you have the undetectable ones. You can probably see it better on your own if you made your own, but there's definitely a variation in stitch sizes.